why do bad films look very similar to this, but good films look like this? Lighting has always been a huge part of the filmmaking process, and on most sets, you have a solid department that is revolving around lighting of each scene and in each shot. Now, to get good lighting, given that there's an entire department centered around lighting, you might think that it's very difficult or near impossible at your stage of filmmaking to actually get a beautiful looking shot. But to get a solid looking shot like the one that I have here, you actually only need 3 lights. You don't need to be intimidated by lighting. In fact, lighting is very, very simple, and you can use the 3-point lighting setup to help you get through it. Now, if you are even a beginner in film, chances are you've heard of the 3-point lighting setup. But I'm going to run through this because this is such a helpful setup to have under your belt and to understand, because if you're ever a gaffer or helping in the grip and electric department in a film set, you are going to want to know the 3-point lighting setup. This is super helpful for dialogue scenes, and even outdoor scenes model their lighting off of the 3-point lighting setup. So, let's get into it. So, as you might expect, the 3-point lighting setup has 3 lights, and those 3 lights actually have names. They are the key light, the rim light, and the fill light. The key light is your main light, and this is the light that you're going to use to fill up your subject's face, or whatever your subject is. That is the main light. So for me, it is actually this LED panel that is lighting up this side of my face, and if you actually look closely at my face, into my eyes, I'm kidding. If you look at my face though, this side of my face is more bright than this side of my face, and that is because my main light is on this side and it is shining directly onto my face. The fill light is the light on the other side of your subject's face, and this is going to be a smaller light, and it's just there to make sure that it is not a incredibly contrasting, lots of light on this side and no light on this side of your face. And right now I'm actually bouncing a softbox light off of a wall and back onto my face. There is actually this softbox light. If I were to shine it directly on me, and I'll do right now, you'll see it actually brightens my image quite a lot. So I did have to bounce it and make it so that it softens the amount of light. It lessens the amount of light that's actually coming onto my face. And there we go. So then lastly we have the rim light. Now the rim light is a little bit more difficult, at least for me. And that is the light that is lighting up the back of my head. Now, the rim light is right now, I have another LED panel that is a little bit lower, a little bit just not quite as bright, and it is actually kind of back at an angle because I didn't want it to actually be directly in my shot, but it is shining on the back of my head, creating a little bit of a rim separating me from the background. These 3 lights in these positions will get you through a huge number of scenes. Now, that is not to say that you need to use the 3-point lighting setup in every single setup that you get in every single scene for every single shot. But they are incredibly useful for a large portion of your typical scenes, like a dialogue scene. If I were talking to someone and that person were talking back, we would 3-point light both the subjects, and it would be a natural look. Now, if they are talking in a tunnel and the only light source in the scene is supposed to be coming from the outside of the tunnel, I'm not going to necessarily give them a 3-point lighting setup, because that would not make sense given the context of the scene. So always remember your scene's context. That is number 1. That is key to being a gaffer or anything in the grip and electric department. Remember your scene's context. So with that being said, go try out the 3-point lighting setup. It's really fun to mess around with, and really this just took me about 5 or 10 minutes to set up this. I'm also using this new setup of my desk being here, and I actually have a bookcase behind me, and I really like this setup. This is a nice little area. I'm actually going to start filming most of my videos this way instead of where I was earlier, which is the green screen, which I was faced the other way. So the green screen is actually behind the camera right now. So you're getting another look at the filming studio. So hope you guys like that. I'm gonna start doing this from now on. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. This is actually my second time filming this because the first time I realized that I used 4 lights in my lighting setup and not 3. So yeah, this is a couple days later, but I still get the video out and you're watching it now, so thank you guys for coming along for the ride, and I will see you in a few days.